Meeting of the City Commission for Tuesday, November 26, 2024 may come to order. Please join me in silencing your cell phones. Police Department Senior Chaplain Thomas Prucknall will give the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much. You are holy, and we are so thankful for your abundant blessings that you pour on us in abundance, Lord. We're grateful that we get to live here at this wonderful piece of the earth here in New Smyrna, and we're grateful for these our government here, our civil servants and public officials, their willingness to conquer the tasks at hand, Lord. We pray that you would give them knowledge, wisdom, and discernment to handle these discussions and deliberations. And Lord, I pray that in the end that whatever they accomplish will bring you the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Manager Cowper. Are there any changes to the published agenda? I'm sorry. I missed the roll call. My first shot at this. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Here.
Commissioner Perrine.
Here.
Commissioner McGirt.
Here.
Commissioner Ashley.
Here.
And Mayor Cleveland is excused absent. Thank you.
Now, City Manager Cowper.
Yes, ma'am. Just a couple of things. We did receive a request to continue item number 9D. That is the Artesia Community Development District. And so you all still need to vote on that to continue it, but we did receive that request. And then also the city clerk advised that 11A for the Housing Authority appointment. That is a mayor's appointment, and I believe we need to pull that, and we'll put it on the next agenda.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We have a presentation for the 2023 Donna Dean Miller Preservation Award.
Good evening. So the city created a Historic Preservation Award program back in 2002, and in 2009, the award program was renamed in the memory of Donna Dean Miller, who was an active volunteer and a member of the community. Ms. Miller also served as the chair of the Historic New Smyrna Beach Preservation Commission. She also worked as an amateur archaeologist and participated in numerous other historical preservation events and activities. And awards are given annually to properties that promote pride in the city, the past, and increases awareness and appreciation of buildings that contribute to the history and character of New Smyrna Beach. Buildings that are 50 years old or older, or sites associated with a historic event are eligible for this award. I would like to invite Marie Bushy to the podium, as she has been chosen as the Donna Dean Miller Preservation Award for the category residential for her periwinkle-style home located at 809 East 24th Avenue. And I'm not sure why she's not here. So we could schedule this for another day that she could make it, but she was supposed to be here tonight.
Yeah, we were looking forward to having it. This is such a unique award, and her house is so unique.
Yes.
Perhaps we can hold on to it, and if she appears to the next few, we'll present the award then.
Yeah, because she was excited to be here, so something has happened that for her not to be here tonight.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, all right. At this time, I would to invite CRA Economic Development Director Samantha Bergeron and Southeast Fallujah Manufacturing and Technology Coalition members to the podium to outline a presentation.
Good evening, everyone. We wanted to come before you tonight. We promised you last time that we would give you an update on the video and website and so forth. So I have with me Bliss Jameson from Southeast Volusia Manufacturing and Technology Coalition and our wonderful partner from Oak Hill, Mike Armand. So that's the first 60-second video that's on the new website. And then we also revised, whoops, sorry. The long website, or the long video, it's 5 minutes long. I'm not going to play that for you tonight, but I can always send it to you. We're just going to do the 2-minute version. But the new website has, we had previous elected officials in that video. Those have been dubbed over with yours truly. We also added Dr. Hernandez from Advent Health and with their robotics and so forth. So that's in the long video. I don't think it's in the short version, but this is the 2-minute updated video.
Imagine a place that combines the lifestyle of coastal Florida with the space and tools to support new industries and businesses. It's here in Southeast Volusia County, Florida, the launch pad for your aerospace business.
Southeast Volusia has an amazing niche in the market. We are positioned perfectly to be able to grow and expand our aviation and space commerce and aerospace technology.
Southeast Volusia is home to growing, vibrant communities, 2 major interstate systems, an international airport, and access to seaports and the major metropolitan cities of Orlando and Jacksonville. Our area is also in the very heart of America's technology triangle, with Kennedy Space Center to the south and Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University to the north. Companies have already invested more than $250 million to bring their high-tech companies to the area. Southeast Volusia has a strong workforce pipeline, with top-ranked schools and colleges, vocational and STEM programs. Southeast Volusia is ready to work.
Well, attracting employees is pretty easy. We're a beach community. We're a waterfront community. It's not expensive to buy a house. It's a nice place to live. It's a nice place to move to.
Excellent schools and year-round activities also make it a perfect place for raising a family.
Here in Florida, we have a unique capability. We have a unique lifestyle. Being able to actually live here, work here, play here, and watch your rocket and payload launch really gives us a unique capability. We're where we need to be to compete. In Volusia County, what they've done there, they're in a position to bring home the bacon.
Industry, education, workforce, economy, and lifestyle. All reasons Southeast Volusia is the launch pad for your aerospace business.
So it has all of our partners on there as well. Okay, I'm going to switch gears. So we are very quickly going to, we're in the process of updating the website as well. And this is going to, oops, sorry. I'm going to take you to that to show you the site, and I'll let you drive.
Okay, so it starts out once again with the video, but we just wanted to show you that separately. As you scroll down, you'll have that video to welcome you, and then you have the map. When it is live, you'll be able to hover your mouse or your cursor over the airplanes, and then it will tell you more about each of the different airports. Okay. And there'll be also a page for the international airports and then our local regional airports, New Smyrna Beach, Edgewater, Oak Hill. So you'll have more information about the local airports. Then we go to relocate your business, and it pops up with more information. Anytime you see a green square, you can click on that for more information. Then Southeast Volusia Advantages, and it takes you through those. There's 4 pages there. Each of these little boxes takes you to a different page. And then we get to the longer video, which would be right there. And then it talks to you about different businesses in the high-tech corridor. They rotate across the screen. Then we go into Discover the Good Life in Volusia County. Once again, you click on the green link, and the green link will take you to each of the cities, New Smyrna Beach, Edgewater, Oak Hill, telling you a little bit more about each of the unique cities. And I'll take you back. I shouldn't have gone there. Ding, ding, ding. We'll go all the way to the bottom. Sorry about that. So it has lots of pictures for you. Wish I had a mouse. We're going to go. And then at the bottom, it goes on down and gives you the news. So I hope you all are receiving your monthly newsletters. And then it tells you a little bit about the news that we use, our newsletters, but then we also use news around the county. Talks about our manufacturers, things coming up, our partner cities. Once again, all of these logos link back to the organizations or the city. And that is it for now, but there's a lot there. All of the pages have lots of information. It talks about, if you look at the top, who we are, sites, workforce, financial resources, and the good life. And it's just full of information if you ever have the time and want to peruse the different links.
And that's it. We just wanted to take just a few 5 minutes. There's handouts for you that you can get in the actual magazines that we advertise. There's 3 ads that went out this month, one in Site Selection magazine, one in Livability, and also Florida Trend. So you can see the covers here, and once I get all those, I'll put them in your mailbox for you, so you can see them. Okay?
And then
Thank
just
you very much.
Yes.
Upcoming news, we will
Yes.
have our job fair, our annual job fair in the spring. So just stay tuned for that date. And
Very
thank you very
good.
much.
And
Thank
if
you
you'd
for
like the
coming.
launch
Yes.
video, we've arranged another one for about 10 o'clock tonight.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Okay. City Manager, do you have a report?
Yes, ma'am. Just a couple of things that I wanted to mention. Next week, we will be hosting a stormwater flooding work session with the community open house. Before I get into the details of that, I did want to note, and I know you all are aware, that the Volusia County Council had approved our grant application for the Corbin Park Stormwater Project. That was a $6 million grant award. We'll be matching that with about $2.5 million of our funds to do that project. And I just wanted to publicly thank the Volusia County Council for that grant award and all the work that the staff, the county manager did on our behalf. We've also will be receiving another grant for some additional funds for stormwater master planning. That'll go toward the second phase of our stormwater master plan. So next week on December the 3rd at the Brannon Center at 5:30, we'll have a public meeting to provide an update on our stormwater planning efforts. Our consultant will be on hand. We'll have lots of our staff on hand, and we'll provide an update on our planning efforts to date. We'll also go through a number of the projects that we're currently working on and that we have upcoming. and we'll hopefully get a lot of citizen input about that, and in particular, helping us make sure that we've appropriately identified all of the areas in the city that we know get some sort of flooding or stormwater issues. So again, I encourage everybody to come to that. That is Tuesday. I'm sorry, I lost my place there. That is Thursday, December the 3rd, 5:30 at the Brandon Center. I believe that was all that I wanted to mention, other than it's the holidays coming up, and so wishing you and yours, all the city employees, the public, a happy Thanksgiving and good quality family time.
Thank you.
ma'am.
And thank you to the staff and Volusia County for those 2 grants. I know they're be much appreciated for their assistance with our stormwater issues, as well as the meeting on December 3rd. If there are any citizens who wish to speak, please approach the podium. You will have 3 minutes to address the City Commission.
Hello, my name is Matthew Wiseman, and my wife and I live in the historic district of NSB at 536 Faulkner Street, just a couple blocks down the road. I'm here to beg, unfortunately, for your help in controlling the excessive noise coming from the business Victoria 1883. 1883's event space is located directly across the street from our home, where they regularly hire amplified bands and DJs to perform various events almost every weekend during the fall, winter, and spring. The noise they project is so loud that it reverberates through our home, making it impossible to enjoy anything about our home. The noise is regularly above 60 decibels for hours as we measure it from our own front porch with our own professional sound meter. This has been going on for almost 2 years, and the police has refused to enforce the noise ordinance. Barbara Boblack from Code Compliance has assured me that they are not allowed to violate the ordinance of 60 decibels. She has warned them repeatedly. Eric Fieldman and Sergeant Helms have assured me that they would enforce the noise ordinance, and they have warned them. And we have called the police many times, yet they continue to get louder and louder with each event. The idea that they're not violating the ordinance is ridiculous. It is a fact that the average decibel level of an amplified DJ, a drum set, an electric guitar, or a singer with a microphone is well above 100 decibels. So how can you set up an amplified DJ or live band outdoors, just 15 to 20 feet from your property line, right across the street from residential homes, to perform for over 100 people for hours and remotely think that you're complying with the noise ordinance with a maximum of 60 decibels? So why have they not been cited? Well, Officer Diamond explained it to me best on video that it's near impossible to get a 5-minute measurement, because if the sound drops below 60 decibels for 1 second, or if someone speaks or anything else happens while they're monitoring the sound, then they cannot enforce it. Sergeant Helms and Shea, the assistant city attorney, confirmed in a meeting that they can essentially play their music as loud as they want for as long as they want, as long as it drops below 60 decibels for at least 1 second every minute. I find this interpretation insulting, and it's clearly not the intent of the noise ordinance. Please change this noise ordinance so that police can stop making excuses and actually enforce it. Too loud is too loud, and maximum decibel limit should mean maximum. I encourage you to drive by my home at 9 o'clock on the weekend when they're having one of their events. There is no way that any of you would be okay living across the street from this insanity. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Wiseman. I'm the wife of Matt Wiseman. I live at 536 Faulkner. I'm here to talk about the same subject, so I won't elabor on it. The tent goes up on a Thursday usually. We don't know when the event's going to be. We can't leave our house because we were told the only way we can get the noise ordinance enforced is to be there and continually call the police, which obviously hasn't worked. We can't make plans to entertain in our home either, so we can't enjoy our home, so we're kind of a prisoner. I have a clip I want to play from just this last Saturday. It was actually not as loud as previous events, but still measured over the limit according to our sound meter from our front porch. And the police did not have a sound meter on Saturday when we talked to them. And they were there on property, meaning they had no intention of enforcing the law. Imagine living with that.
Hello, Palmer.
Good evening. Palmer Wilson, 101 Donlin Drive here in New Smyrna Beach. I'd like to talk to you tonight about Agenda Item 11B, the Planning Board and Zoning Board appointments. I've watched many of the board's meetings and observed the board member and Chair Wheatcliff's conduct of the meetings. He's done an excellent and superb job, better than I can remember in previous chairs. In addition, he demonstrates an incredible knowledge and understanding of planning and zoning issues, concepts, and law. Again, in my view, exceeding his predecessors. This combination of legal and technical practices, coupled with his excellent leadership and board management skills, make him the ideal chair for this important committee. I don't think we'll be able to find someone better, and I would urge you to reappoint him to the board and as well as to the chair position. While some concerns have been raised about other appointments, especially in understanding the limits of their position on the board, I would think you have several fine replacements available in the applicant pool before you. And I would like to point out one that I believe demonstrates broad interest in the furthering of New Smyrna Beach. And that is David McKenna, who almost won a chair in this commission in a previous election and has been doing nothing but good things since then. His interest in charitable organizations and support of our law enforcement demonstrate his interest in this city, and I would suggest to you that he would be an excellent replacement for any board member that you need. Thank you, and have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Palmer.
Good evening and happy Thanksgiving to you all. Cindy Sneezak, 512 Yukon. I'm going to follow up on the last topic of the appointments that you are considering making tonight. I'd like to speak on behalf of Mr. Frank Hauser. I think with his particular professional skills, they're right on point to someone who is serving on the board. They're very specific. He brings a unique dimension to the board. And I'd also draw your attention to Mr. Frank Dalton. His experience with insurance claims, particularly in the flooding area and the causes of flooding, to me, make him a unique and valuable asset. And so those are the two people I hope that you would consider very closely as you're filling those positions. Also, a question on 7J on the consent agenda. I may have read it too quickly, but my only question is the unexpected expense that is necessary to replace that pump, and it is necessary to replace that pump. Is that going to come from golf course reserves? Because my understanding it's an enterprise fund, but I may be mistaken on that. Or is it going to be a hit on the general fund? If it's a hit on the general fund, it simply underscores our less than optimal approach to budgeting. If we're going to run businesses as the city of New Smyrna Beach, and there's mixed opinions on that, then those businesses need to cover their ongoing maintenance expenses. So if it's from their reserves, that's great, but time and time again, there have been things that have come on enterprise fund requests before this board, and they've been hit on the general fund. So I'd just like an answer to that one question. And also the parking workshop, I thought that was valuable to have that. I believe it was last week. It's unfortunate it was so ill-attended, but you all know actions can be taken to rectify some of that. And I'd ask the city manager, Mr. Cowper, to consider how he might be able to use citizens to help move some of these items along. I was disappointed to hear Mr. Niebert time and time again say that all these things have the responsibility of a yet unhired parking and mobility director. There are at least half the items on that action list, I think it was 17, that require no particular skills of a mobility director and could be implemented as very quick wins in a matter of a few months. So I offer my time to you 2 days a week if you'd like to help with some of the, I don't know, run around nonsense filler work. But there are things we can do and not push off until we manage to hire a director. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Commission, and staff. Randy Herman, 108 Esther Street. I was pleased to hear the city manager is talking about the workshop on the storm water issue. I was privileged to hear our citizens talk a few meetings back about what they have faced with the flooding, many of them 2 and 3 times. And I went to the county meeting last week and I couldn't even get in because there were so many people there and their stories were just as heartfelt. And I was struck by the depth of what they are going through, both economically, emotionally, and otherwise. And the challenges, I think one of the things that I've heard some sociologists call the known unknown, that we are dealing with dramatic climate and events that we've never had before. We have set standards like the 100-year flood strategy, which may not be sufficient. So we are facing, I think, a real challenge, really in many respects, perhaps the survival of Florida, because we are probably built in many places where we shouldn't be. So I think the stormwater thing is bigger than just the workshop. And one of the things that came out from some of our residents was a plea for a task force. And I know the task force for the Turnbull Creek was very successful. It developed excellent strategies and was fairly successful in its job. And I wonder if we shouldn't consider some sort of task force, because I think it's bigger than just Corbin Park. I think it is a very huge issue that we're facing. And I think it's time for a white paper, or a time to really sit back. The word that gets thrown around a lot too is the moratorium. But we know moratoriums are limited by time and what they can do. So I think it's bigger than a moratorium. It's bigger than a workshop. So I would urge us to form a task force, because I really think we have been good as a city to being out in front of a lot of these issues. And I think that's a great suggestion that's come from our citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Joe Dluback, 3587 Casalta Circle. I'm going to expand on what Randy just said and put on record that, in fact, this is an issue at the Volusia County level. They are going to be holding a special meeting within the next 2 weeks to address the issue. Our mayor, Mayor Cleveland, has been on record talking to that group and telling them that it is not a Venetian Bay issue. It is not a New Smyrna Beach issue. It is not a Volusia County issue. It may be statewide. And to do something without realizing all those other connections is very short-sighted. Speaking more directly, though, at some of the projects that we have on the record right now, I'm thinking especially at Deering Park. When asked when we were going to address the stormwater issue and how we're going to solve that problem for that particular project, Mrs. Storch says we're going to do it at phase something or other, well after the design. I would claim that the smart thing to do is that you address the stormwater issues at the beginning, and in fact, they represent a pass, no pass, go, no-go option for the rest of the project. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the commission?
Hello, my name's Joey Marco. I'm at 2280 Captain Butler Trail in the community of Terra Trails. And I'm here for the flood issue as well as the Rolling Hills project and the Troop Development project, which is directly around our neighborhood to where we will be the retention for both of these developments. So my questions are, what land development regulations have been put in place since Matthew, Ian, Nicole, Milton to mitigate the flooding in the town? Also, has the Turnbull Bay Canal drainage study been done to know where our water's going, where it's flowing, and what's the flow rates before all this building can be done? The Corbin Park draining, I'm pretty sure that's going to be all pushed into our neighborhoods as well, and the Turnbull Bay canals. Has there been a study done to see where the water's going? Because we've had chest-deep water at our mailboxes for 3 storms. I believe one of you guys on the board has a family member that lives in our neighborhood, and they know firsthand how bad our flooding is. You can't get a small car in and out. If you're not in a big truck, you're stuck for days. So that's why I ask you, let's all come together and find what we can do to solve this problem. Obviously, development's inevitable, it's gonna happen, but let's be responsible about our development.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you December 3rd.
Good evening. My name is John Spooner. I'm here about the property at 532 North Riverside Drive, also known as Victoria 1883. I'm here with the Spooner family and the partners that own this property, including my wife Jennifer and I. We've been longtime residents of New Smyrna Beach, living at 91 Cunningham Drive in New Smyrna Beach. My brother Peter and sister-in-law Fabia as well is our newest addition, little baby Ava, that's here in attendance with us tonight as well. We purchased this historic home in 2021. It was in a rundown state at the time, and we came together to bring our 2 families together from across the country as we ventured into this small family-run business together as a passion project to breathe life back into this historic gem of New Smyrna Beach. We have put in actual blood, sweat, tears, and a large financial investment into this property. And for the last, it lasted about 2 years during the renovation project to that. We have been working closely with the city to make this possible inside the parameters provided by the staff. And we continue to partner with the city to improve our operations. We have made many efforts to improve our operations, while at the same time we recognize that as any small business, even if you achieve great strides, there are definitely areas to make improvements. This home has been run as a bed and breakfast and assisted living facility for more than 25 years now by the previous owners. And we have received an outpouring of support and congratulations from many of our neighbors. The vast majority of our neighbors have been in great support, including about 50 of them walked down to a Friendsgiving gathering that we had last night to show their support as well. So with that, we wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and appreciate your time.
Good evening. My name is Fabiola Spooner. My family and I started Victoria 1883 with a dream of providing a space that would bring people together to celebrate life, love, family, and community. We renovated the oldest house in the city of New Smyrna with a commitment to preserve the history of the home, maintaining a legacy of hospitality and human connection. We're blessed with the joy of seeing couples begin their lives together, families reunite, and lifelong memories being created within our grounds. We are here today to listen to our neighbors and work towards a solution that creates balance for us all. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving as well.
Anyone else? Thank you, and now we'll move on to the consent agenda. Does any member of City Commission wish to remove any item on the consent agenda for discussion? Grant? I would like to pull F. Is there a motion to approve agenda items A, B, C, D, E, GHIJ.
I'll make that motion.
Whoops. Call the roll. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Perine,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley.
Yes.
Thank you.
The one note on the Canal Street show, the MOU does not include the Exhibit A referenced in the MOU, but nor does it include a future parking plan. Come on up, brother. So there are some questions about that. There's, the unlimited signs on Canal, and one of the things that concerns me is that this is a great event. I know our citizens love it, but we have quite a few really good events on Canal that bring in visitors and provide good business for our businesses. They have to pay the full boat. And while we're putting a lot of pressure on leisure services to create revenue, to be revenue neutral, and to have another $5,000 taken out of the leisure services budget. And again, citizens on patrol are to be used for free at no cost. And I know we also provide the barricades and cones. So I'm not sure how we get to decide one great event gets extras when other great events do not, even though they're all not profit.
Okay. I'll give you a quick backstory of how we got here. The car show has come before the commission before, obviously. To answer your first question, I have requested a sign placement map from the organizer, which would serve as Exhibit A in the...
Which is not in the MOU for tonight.
I've requested it, and we don't have it currently. They place about 20 signs, so along the lines of the number you said was unlimited, just for reference.
Well, they use the
it's
term
for-
unlimited in the MOU. So
Sure.
I'm just looking at the legal document.
Okay. And additionally, the MOU is consistent with the model that the commission had approved for this current calendar year for '24 for the car show, with the waiver of the leisure services fees, with the building department's continuous special event fee still being applicable towards this event. So this is extending into, this is just the norm for this event, is what this MOU would establish.
I understand that, and I thank you. Again, we said it would be a one-year trial, and I am concerned that it could be a model for other not-for-profit corporations coming forward and saying, this is the standard that we set with this event. We would like to use that standard for our events. And I don't know how we would say, yeah, they're okay, but you're not. And in addition, I know you get pushed hard for revenue. And it's hard for you to make the kind of revenue that you're pushed to get if we keep routinely, and I know we've got the Brandon Center coming up, if we continue to override your best judgment and your marching orders to create revenue.
You're good. Don't need to answer that. Let me interject a little bit. So this event has been going on for some time, and you all have entertained waiving the fees previously, which you have done.
It's a different iteration. There was a car show. This is a different group behind it.
I guess I am confused. I'm thinking this is the group that we've been dealing with?
This is the same group that's run the car show for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a reference in the document to 27 years of the car show.
Yes, there's historically been a car show on Canal Street for the last 27 years. The previous organizer operated for the first 25, roughly. This new organizer came in when the previous organizer departed for a new venue to host their show.
So the commission has entertained the event previously and provided waivers. Your direction to me was to look at this event and see if we could come up with an agreement, something similar to what we do for the farmers market. And we have done that, and this is the agreement that was produced as a result of that. We've worked with the car show sponsor, and they're agreeable to these terms. Ultimately, you know, this will give an agreement that can be renewed, or you can stop it with notice. That would be up to you. But yes, I think it would be fair to say if we have similar events of similar community value, then this is a model that we would follow, and this is modeled after the farmers market.
Well, I noticed that, for example, we have, you know, the Southeast Volusia Chamber where they're paying full boat, and that's considered community value. You know, I mean, we frequently have Canal Street shows, art shows, and so it's just, we said we would try it for a year, and I understood that, but I am still confused how we select this one vehicle, and again, ask our leisure services to, on one hand, produce revenue, and then on the other hand, we take it away. So those are my concerns.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So during briefing, I had a lot of questions as well about this, but I think I had all of them answered, but maybe two, and I'll share this with the public. One of the citizens asked me about how much extra labor this would be, but this has been done by our volunteer police staff that does the barricades. So that part, unless it happens to exceed that, that's a volunteer thing, correct?
So you've kind of blended two pieces of the event together. The barricades are dropped off by our maintenance ops department, and then the organizer puts those barricades out. And then the volunteer police, the COPs, they are patrolling the event, and they would be present during the duration of the event. So it's kind of a combo of what you described.
Both, okay. And then my second question was one that Mr. Cowper didn't have an answer. What is the impact, our net impact doing it this way with an MOU versus the way we had it before? And that's adding the revenues, subtracting the expenses, and our net impact.
Sure. So this way, like I said, this MOU is consistent with the model we implemented for calendar year 24. In calendar year 24, we waived $6,000 of event fees for the car show. In the MOU, we are outlining a 10-month model. The organizer had requested 2 months off during the summer because of low attendance. So it would be a reduction down to 10 shows for a $5,000 consideration for reduced fees or a waiver of the fees.
And then the last thing was that we do an MOU now for the farmers market. And so I personally don't have a problem with handling it like this since it's not our first. We have the farmers market with an MOU as well. So I would, that's all I have.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So yeah, you know, this is one of the things that I've stated in the past that, to me, it is part of the history and charm of this community that so many of us come here for. And it's unfortunate that it wasn't profitable enough, but we are fortunate enough to have people who step forward to try to keep it going. You know, we've all moved here for so many of these charming things, and the car show, whenever the city is profiled by anybody, the car show is one of the things that is so often mentioned. And as I've said before, you know, I would love for everything to be perfect. I would love for everybody to be held to the same exact standard, every nonprofit. But the reality of it is that's just not life. There's different dynamics and situations and circumstances with every nonprofit. And certain nonprofits, like I mentioned, the last one was Images, is too important to not have the city help out where they can. The city has done this for a long period of time. We've helped out where we can, and I certainly think, and I will support continuing that. Thank you.
Commissioner Ashley.
I think that the vacuum that would be created by the car show disappearing is a greater factor than the contribution that the city is now providing. So if somebody said, hey, we won't have the car show, but we're going to have a dinosaur show, great. But I haven't heard anybody say this is the alternative. And a car show is a great thing for a city. I lived in a small city in Southern California, and the car show was partly paid for by the city, and it was well attended and almost a tradition in the city. So I would be for extending the MOU.
Last question, is there a parking plan in the future for this event? The road is closed.
Road is closed. We don't have an established plan, as we all know that parking is a hot button issue and very tight. But there's not a specific plan outlining where to park with the reduction of spaces.
Again, I just want the same, applicability to all the events. So, and if we are to hold other events to requirements for a parking plan, I would certainly hope we would include this one. Please be aware, it is not, I am very much in favor of the car show. I think it's a great event for the city. I really do. My reservation is only to do something for one event that is not done for others. So, thank you, and I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. We are up to administrative items and new business, and Director Salazar, it's a good thing you're already at the podium because we're up for Brandon Center rates and guidelines, reviews, and recommendations.
So if I may just set the stage a little bit while Rob's pulling up his presentation. Again, this is one of our community assets. You've directed the staff to look at this facility in terms of its profitability, so to speak, the revenues and expenses we have, and to try to bring those in alignment in as much as possible. This is one of the facilities that you frequently get requests to waive fees, and obviously dealing with that individually can be quite cumbersome. And so I've tasked Rob with coming up with some recommendations and some ways of dealing with that. And he and his staff have put a lot of thought into that, and has a presentation to run through this evening with some of those recommendations, and then we can answer questions and get some feedback from you on the direction that you'd like us to go. Rob?
Thank you, sir. Okay. We are discussing our 2025 plan for rates and guidelines for the Brandon Center. Quick outline of our current guidelines that are in place. These guidelines went into place in January of 2023. Currently, we offer New Smyrna Beach citizens and businesses a 10% discount. Deposit is required for all reservations, including reservations that receive a waiver or a discount. New fee waivers and discounts can only be permitted Monday through Thursday, excluding the citizen discount, which can be applied to any reservation. One fee waiver or discount applicable per organization per year, and we offer seasonal rates during the summer, June through August.
what our plans are going to call for recommendations for guidelines, and I will outline why these recommendations are being put into place in the slideshow. We are proposing a fee waiver or nonprofit discount rental permitted any day except Saturday, reinstituting the original pre-COVID rate structure at the Brandon Center and incorporating seasonal rates during the summer, allowing the Leisure Services Director the discretion to negotiate price reductions with the city manager or designee's approval, and a potential grant and aid funding for next fiscal year for use of the Brandon Center for nonprofits to be administered by the Leisure Services Department. These recommendations for guidelines would be incorporated into the existing guidelines that would stay in place. Okay, so with the help of our finance department, we did a deep dive into the Brandon Center's profitability and cost and expense over the last couple years. And this is just a quick break-even analysis of how we structured some of the data that we present. So for fiscal 24, the total operating budget of the Brandon Center was $617,000. Assessing the number of days that we have available to actually rent the facility, 365 days in a year, excluding the use of city events or waiver days or HR trainings or police use, stuff like that. That was about 50 days, and then city holidays. So we got down to about 305 total rentable days at the Brandon Center. So the $617,000 divided by the 305 days, approximately $2,024 of daily revenue generated to break even at the Brandon Center. Okay, so that's just for a benchmark. A little more history on the last 2 years at the center. In 23, we had a total of 229 reservations for a total of $216,000. And then in 24, that number went up to 267 reservations for $307,000. So we've increased the revenue along with the reservations over the last year. So along the lines of what we're going to be recommending and why we're recommending the rate structure. So the current rate structure outlines a summer rate for weekdays in the center, and also has normal rates for use of the building for any month during the regular year. In the original rates pre-COVID, there were no summer rates outlined. Why we instituted the summer rates was to drive up occupancy during the summer months, because that's when our lowest months of occupancy occurred. So our recommendation is to incorporate summer rates and go back to the pre-COVID rates throughout the duration of the year. The summer rates will be a 20% reduction off of the regular rates from June to August. And if you take a look at the bottom chart, it kind of illustrates what the difference in price is for the recommendations. It shows that the dollar increase and what percentage the increase would bring. So our staff did extensive benchmarking with these 4 locations, and why we ended up with these 4 locations were they were waterfront municipally owned venues in Central Florida. So the Winter Park Event Center, Tavares Pavilion on the Lake, Lake Mary Event Center, and the Oviedo Cultural Center. And these buildings were the most comparable buildings to what we have at the Brandon Center. So some of the criteria that we surveyed and compared: the staffing levels, the number of events throughout the year, their operating budget versus the revenue they generate, their nonprofit fee waiver policy, and if they allow city use of the facility. So each of the different centers had some type of blend of our policies and differing policies, obviously. So we were consistent for what the budget revenue type for a municipal building for this type of venue. We were in the middle. The nonprofit and the fee waiver policy varied wildly. A lot of different places didn't allow, or the Lake Mary didn't allow nonprofit or city use. Tavares didn't allow nonprofit waivers and had limited city use. We were aligned with Oviedo with having the nonprofit rate available Monday through Thursday and having city use of the building. So it varied, but we wanted to capture what each of the centers had, so we were really truly comparing apples to apples. One of the interesting components that we found, and this is going to be part of the recommendations when we get to that slide one more time, the Brand Center, when you currently book, you get 15 hours with your booking. And all of the other centers, you would get 8. So one of the changes that we're going to propose is a change in our hours we offer when we book. So this shows the different rate structures for what you're getting for 8 hours, and you are getting significantly more hours from us at a lower rate. So that's something we're going to look to amend and adjust. Okay. Quick snapshot of this presentation. I composed this draft letter to the, if I can close this box, to summarize my recommendations for the center. This all stems from previous meetings, commission meetings back in June, where we reviewed fee waivers for the Brand Center from Habitat for Humanity and the Sheriff's Department. During these meetings, the commission expressed an interest to review this process. As I said previously, in January of 23, we adjusted the Brand Center guidelines and moved to the current model. These guidelines have helped the center to increase profitability over the last 20 months by roughly 20%. So the current guidelines, while they may seem as if you're getting piecemealed requests, they originally closed the door on those requests, and when requests circumvented the process is when that kind of trickled in. Following the city commission meetings in June, we began our benchmarking assessment with the different municipalities and the deep dive into the finances with the finance department. We wanted to make sure that we had a unified approach to where it wasn't just me or my staff proposing this. So that's why we wanted to get finance involved and kind of get more eyes on it and kind of get a little more perspective from other departments as well. So part of the recommendations is going back to the pre-COVID rates. And this chart, again, shows the pre-COVID rates. We deviated from these rates when COVID struck to boost occupancy in the building, because obviously rentals were down. In January of 23, we did a slight rate increase, but we did not go all the way back to these rates. The pre-COVID rates were slashed by 50% when we originally reduced them. And now we went up, we didn't go up back to 100%, we went up to about 80% with the current rate structure. Now we want to go back all the way to the 100% of the pre-COVID. Additionally, I outlined that we currently offer 15 hours of time for your reservations for your flat fee when you rent the space, and we're going to effort to reduce that to 8 hours, which may seem like a reduction of services, but we will still offer the opportunity for people to rent additional hours at an additional hourly rate. So this will also help us increase the revenue by offering those hours and giving those people the option. If they want it, they have a way to get it still. And that hourly rate will be $325 an hour. That number we came up with that number based off the original $2,024 break even divided by the operating hours, and it was roughly, it was in the high twos, so we wanted a round number. We got to 325. And then finally, staff recommends that with city manager approval or designee approval, that the Leisure Services Director has the ability to negotiate pricing for reservations at the Brandon Center in situations that would maximize revenue at the center, such as short notice, multi-day events, or reoccurring annual reservations that are requested. So rather than having the city vacant or the Brandon Center vacant, if there's an opportunity to have a reservation come in with a reduction in rate with some negotiation or some back and forth to continue to keep revenues high and keep the occupancy rate up, we would ask for some flexibility to be able to have some dialogue with the organizers of those events. We reviewed this plan, the Leisure Services staff, my assistant director, and Brandon Center manager and I reviewed this with the city manager and assistant city manager in September. And we feel that these guidelines will help us maximize the revenue and occupancy at the center, and we hope that we can incorporate these to continue to move in that direction. Finally, these bullet points capture what I basically summarized: reinstituting the original fee structure while incorporating the seasonal summer rates, having fee waivers and nonprofit discounts permitted on any day except Saturday, reduce the hours of rentals from 15 hours to 8 hours with the $325 hourly fee structure for additional hours, allowing the Leisure Services Director with authorization from the city manager designate the ability to negotiate reservation rates for rental requests to maximize occupancy. And then this potential recommendation would be to institute the grants and aids funding for next fiscal year for nonprofits for use of the Brandon Center to be administered by Leisure Services. We've had multiple comments from the commission wanting to come up with a policy that would help take the pressure off of picking and choosing who gets the discounts or the waivers. So this draft policy calls for a budgeted amount of money allocated towards the Brandon Center or Live Oak to be designated in the city's budget that would be administered by my department to have a pool and application window for organizations to apply. We would review the applications based off the established criteria, which is also outlined in the draft policy, of the day of the week, the location of the requesting nonprofit, if it's in the city, the organization's prior events they've held at Brandon, the organization's impact on NSB, and any other potential considerations. We would weigh that, review all the applications in the window, get back to all the organizers that, hey, your application is approved, or we need more information, whatever the criteria would call for. And then finally, if the budget of the, I used 40,000 as the example budget. If the 40,000 budget wasn't exhausted in the original application window, it would become available, whatever remaining funds, on a first come, first served basis, the remaining of the fiscal year for organizations who would want to apply for that. So that is my recommended guidelines for the Brandon Center and instituting a nonprofit policy. Questions?
Questions from the commission? Commissioner Ashley? No questions. Commissioner McGurk?
No questions.
I do. Do you know about how much labor cost savings we'll have from going from 16 hours to 8 hours?
So we staff the Brandon Center right now. We have staff in the building from 6 a.m. to 10 or 11 p.m. if there's a event organizing that day. So if we only have applicable hours that are relevant to that event, to where we're condensing the hours we're staffing it, or now we're getting $325 an hour instead of getting just base rate. I don't have a number, but it's going to substantially increase the the revenue generation with minimizing the expense.
Can you use that labor for that person you needed in the budget last year, since we're cutting back almost half of the labor from your staff?
I don't think we're cutting back necessarily on staff. I'm thinking we're more reallocating the staff hours and better having center coverage, and possibly instead of having one event tech for cleaning the building at 6 a.m. when the renter is supposed to come in, we may have greater flexibility throughout the duration of the day to provide customer service during the event, or staff a different building, as we've kind of, I've shuffled the department a little bit to where we have Brandon Center, Live Oak, Coronado. We would have a team more so overseeing the 3 facilities rather than just Brandon Center standalone. So we kind of play with the pieces.
I like that. When will this go into effect if we vote on this tonight? And would that give you enough time to reassess your needs when budget time comes? So that, because I know we've not approved your extra headcount in the last 2 years that you've requested. So I'm hoping this will help a little bit. Eliminating half your hours is pretty big. It's significant. I think I want to commend you for finding a way around what we've been asking and bringing this back to us, and not also for us having to determine the nonprofits that. Thank you for listening.
Sure.
It's amazing.
I know it took a while to come back to you. It's been delayed a few times, but this has definitely been something that we have prioritized, and this is something that's definitely important to our department. To answer your first question of when we could institute the policy, which portion of specifically are you talking about? Because we can put the recommendations into place tomorrow. The funding, I would either have to transfer funding to move through the rest of the fiscal year if we wanted to do that immediately from wherever we pull it from, or we could put it in place for fiscal 26 for the nonprofit policy.
I'm guessing the people that you've already committed to that haven't rented, you've got to honor the old rates, and then it's going to be the new ones from here on out.
Yes.
So that means we could start immediately, except for the ones we've already honored. Any
Correct.
new things?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
I'd like just a question. Do I assume correctly, since you use the term operating budget, that those dollars exclude maintenance and depreciation?
Does not include depreciation, includes maintenance.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to ask for a vote from the commission to approve staff recommendations, but it occurs to me it might be a good idea to break it into 2 pieces. In other words, should we approve transferring funds for the grants? Should we either move it into this year or have it pushed out to the next fiscal year? Would that be acceptable to you? Would that work for you?
It would work for me. I wouldn't want to set the amount this evening because I need to look at my budget on maybe reallocating some projects and funding. I'd like the opportunity to maybe sit with the city manager and assistant city manager and prioritize what we'd like to do to where we could pull funding from if we were going to look at doing that immediately. But I'm not opposed to doing that if that's the wish of the commission.
All right. Would that be workable to just not to establish the amount, but to decide whether we want to have the grant this year or have it in the budget for next year?
Yeah, we can do it now, and we can bring a budget amendment back to you if that's necessary.
So, all right, so we're going to vote to approve staff recommendations, assuming that the grant money will be allocated in this current fiscal year with a budget amendment to follow.
Yes.
Is that a motion?
I can't make the motion.
I'll make that motion to do as Vice Mayor stated. You've got that on record.
Motion approving staff's recommendations.
Approving staff's recommendation and including a grant allocation for this fiscal year. The amount and budget amendment will be approved at a later meeting.
Sounds good.
Yes?
No, we need a second.
Oh, a second.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, the staff recommendations have been approved.
Thank you.
And congratulations on Robert Jr.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
All right. The public hearing will be conducted to consider the adoption of the following ordinances regarding the annexation of the property located at 1301 Woodland Avenue. This is the second reading and public hearing.
All right, I'll take them as a set of three, and then we'll have one staff presentation, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
Ordinance number 5724, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach annexing .28 plus or minus acres of property located on the north side of Woodland Avenue between Howard Avenue and Hickory Street, addressed as 1301 Woodland Avenue. Providing for redefining boundaries of the city, designating the property within Commission Zone 1, providing for public hearing, provided for required filings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Ordinance number 5824, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the comprehensive plan, changing the future land use designation of .28 plus or minus acres of property located on the north side of Woodland Avenue between Howard Avenue and Hickory Street, addressed as 1301 Woodland Avenue, from Volusia County urban medium intensity to city medium density residential, providing for amendment of the associated comprehensive plan maps to show the area incorporated into the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Ordinance number 5924, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning .28 plus or minus acres of property located on the north side of Woodland Avenue between Howard Avenue and Hickory Street from Volusia County R4A urban single-family residential airport overlay to City R2A single-family residential airport overlay zoning district, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Senior Planner Bob Nathan, do you have a report?
Yes, ma'am. So the property owner has requested a voluntary annexation, a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, and rezoning from the Volusia County future land use designation of urban medium intensity and a Volusia County zoning designation of R4 urban single-family residential with an A attached for the airport height notification zone to a city future land use designation of medium density residential and a city zoning designation of R2 single-family residential with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. The site contains approximately 0.28 plus or minus acres. It is located on the north side of Woodland Avenue, and it is between Howard Avenue and Hickory Street. And at its regular scheduled meeting on October the 7th, 2024, the Planning and Zoning Board voted 5-0 to give a positive recommendation to the City Commission to approve the requested overall annexation application. And the Planning Department also recommends the City Commission to approve the requested annexation, small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, amending the future land use to city medium-density residential, and a rezoning to city R2 single-family residential with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. And that's a summary of the staff report, subject to any questions the commissioners may have.
Commissioners? Thank you.
Thank you.
The public hearing is opened. If there are any citizens who wish to speak, please approach the podium. Seeing none, the public hearing is closed, and the City Commission will consider the adoption of each ordinance separately.
Move to approve ordinance number 5724.
Second?
City Clerk?
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Move to approve ordinance number 5824.
Second?
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Thank you.
Someone else want the third one?
Yes, we need a motion for.
I make the motion to approve 5924.
Second.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All three ordinances have been approved and adopted, and we are on to, let's see. Ordinance number 5923, do we need a motion to postpone this to January?
So I need to read the title, then we need a motion, and then I need to read something else into the record. So ordinance number 6024, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach establishing the Ardisia Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statutes, providing for authority and power of the district, providing for the Board of Supervisors of the district, providing for the district budget, providing for functions of the district, providing for miscellaneous provisions, providing for an effective date. We did have a presentation on first reading. There still remains many questions. The applicant is requesting a continuance to January 14th in order to meet with you all to answer more questions. So we would need a motion on that continuance.
Move to approve the continuance?
Second that?
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Ordinance number 6024 has been continued to the January 14th, 2025 meeting to be held at 6:30 p.m. and 214 Sam's Avenue, New Smyrna Beach.
Moving on, the city attorney will read ordinance number 6224 the second time by title only.
Ordinance number 6224, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the business plan unit development agreement for the Southeast Interchange Complex LLC for approximately .99 plus or minus acres bounded generally by State Road 44 on the north, Glencoe Road on the east, and I-95 on the south and west. Approving the third amendment to the BPUD agreement for the Southeast Interchange Complex LLC. Authorizing the mayor to execute the third amendment to the BPUD agreement for the Southeast Interchange Complex LLC, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Chief Planner Grove, please.
Thank you. Yes, this is a proposed amendment to that Southeast Interchange Complex PUD, which was originally approved in 2007. The total 20-acre PUD property is located at the southeast corner of I-95 and State Road 44 at that interchange, and has one existing structure now within it, which is the Advent Health two-story building that I'm sure you're all familiar with, which fronts both 44 and the internal street that was created by the subdivision, which is named Florida Memorial Parkway. Following the rezoning in 2005, there was a subdivision plat done for this property that was recorded in 2007, and that created the internal road and the 6 commercial lots, with the Advent building being on 2 of those. 3 of the other lots south of that Advent Health building front I-95, and there's a site plan that was conditionally approved by the city Planning and Zoning Board last year for a mixed-use development with medical offices, a 4-story hotel, and a restaurant. This currently proposed amendment would be the third. The first was done in 2007 to allow an existing cell tower within Lot 4. The second amendment was approved in 2013 to allow the existing Advent Health facility. And this proposed third amendment would allow the proposed use of this 800 square foot drive-through only building within the platted Lot 1, which is the only remaining lot not developed or with approved plans for that within the PUD. This Lot 1 is somewhat constrained for development, being less than an acre and containing various platted easements, including one to connect to undeveloped property to the east. And that will serve as a future internal service road network to keep traffic from having to use this congested section of 44. So the requests being made in this third amendment are specific to Lot 1 only and for what is already listed as permitted use within the original MDA. These three specific minor revisions, which we have evaluated to that original MDA, are that the existing front yard setback that's now required for Lot 1 is being requested to eliminate the maximum 55-foot dimension and for the purpose of providing additional driveway lanes and area north of the building. There's a specified maximum driveway width north of the Lot 1 building, which is being requested to be increased from its current 14-foot maximum width to instead be 28 to allow for a second bypass lane. And that would remain one way only. And the proposed building elevations that are now attached to this amendment have been determined by staff to comply with the MDA architectural standards and style requirements. And our applicant seeks to include the conceptual plan and these color elevations as new exhibits to the MDA. I received an email, a copy of an email that was forwarded that apparently had been sent to you all last night and had a number of issues relevant to this application. So I thought I'd give you my responses to that right now. Concerning the building design, it was said that the building was shown as a gray and red concrete facade with a flat roof to the planning board at their November meeting. We don't have any copies of a flat roof building or anything with the gray. It's always been white. I checked what was submitted to the Planning and Zoning Board, and it's identical to what you have tonight. I also asked the applicant, and he also had never seen a flat roof building. The MDA does have references to architectural design using the old New Smyrna, old Florida, or nautical theme. That was kind of deviated from significantly with the Advent Health Building, and that was the reason for their MDA amendment at that time. So the architectural theme is not going to be consistent naturally because that's already been kind of broken through with the Advent Health Building. It does specify it for the 3 lots that the hotel is proposed for, and that was enforced on them. So I actually do have a copy of their elevation if you need to see it. They went to the extent of providing a lighthouse tower, and so it does have that nautical theme. This 800 square foot building probably isn't going to be the one to decide the design theme of this PUD, although in our mind they complied with it with the white wood siding and a peak roof. So I know there was a mention of island colors, but no other definition besides that. So that's kind of hard to apply when there's no definition. We see a lot of white used, and historically that's been the case. I mean, Eldora House is white, and it's probably one of the oldest buildings in the area. Back then, white was used because it was most reflective and least heat absorbing. So that island color point is something that really is hard to define. The Advent Health sign, that was mentioned in the email as being less than 8 feet by 48 square feet, but it's actually the full 72 square feet that's permitted by the amended MDA when Advent Health was built in 2013. And there was a comment that this amendment would allow for 4 separate large monument signs in a small space. That is not correct. This MDA still has a maximum of 3 monument signs along 44, and that would be the case. That's along 750 feet of frontage, so I don't think it's too extreme that we're maintaining the maximum of 3 monument signs that were in the original MDA. One other comment in that email was that the proposed 7 parking spaces are to the side of the building and not behind the building as the MDA calls for. The MDA doesn't have any requirement for it to be behind the building. The activity center, future land use, which is used for this property, instead allows parking spaces to be either to the side or the rear of the building. And that's the case in all the other buildings in this area, from the Advent Health building on their parking lot to their side, to the west of them. All those restaurant buildings on the north side of 44. There's no parking in front of the buildings, it's all to the side. And I guess the last comment was about staff showing you large readable plans. We do have various versions of the plan. Some are included in the MDA itself as exhibits or the ordinance, and they do get maybe cloudy in there, but that's why we actually include separate exhibits of the concept plan, site plan. So those are original. You can pull them up separately, zoom them up as large as you want, and they're definitely legible. And that's it. I'll be glad to respond to comments or questions.
Commissioner McGurk.
Thank you. Landscape plan, one of our moratoriums was about keeping the natural vegetation as much as we can along State Road 44. I look at the landscape plan, I don't see it doesn't show any natural vegetation remaining there. Am I wrong, or is the site conditions just so that there's nothing there?
There's not a lot of tree coverage on this property. There's pine trees, and the property will have to be graded and filled. There's wetlands in the south.
I'm not talking about the whole property.
Okay.
I'm just talking about the front yard setback on State Road 44. We've always tried to maintain as much natural vegetation buffer there. It's been complicated. We've done moratoriums, but with the utilities and what they need, it's been complicated. So I'm just confirming that there is either no natural vegetation, some of the more mature trees that are going to be kept, or there's none there to keep within the setback.
Well, most of State Road 44 is within the corridor overlay zone, and that, with the revisions in the moratorium, like I said, that does require a 50-foot front yard landscape buffer, preserving existing trees or adding according to what's stated in there. The properties that are in the activity center, they're specifically exempt. They're not included in the corridor overlay zone. And what's been specified for those properties is a more, not natural, but a planted frontage with a certain number of trees required, and it doesn't expect to maintain any natural vegetation in the buffer. There's no requirement in the activity center. The buffer there is 35 feet instead of the 50 foot in the COZ.
Okay, so I think that got me my answer. Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Ashley? No. Okay. Just a question. I thought it had been decided that our PUDs and MDAs would now include some sort of an expiration date. And I didn't notice one in any of the documents for that. Did I overlook it, or is there a reason that it was not included?
There's one in the 05 version of 5
Right.
years, but I don't know what the history is in terms of the extension.
Right, the original one that was approved in 2005 says it's valid in perpetuity unless the property is not developed within the 5 years from the date of execution. We've considered this being developed within the 5 years. The subdivision was platted 2 years after the MDA was approved. The Advent Health building was constructed in 2013, which was well after so basically all the lots are vested now. The applicant actually paid prop share money for traffic improvements at that time, including towards Glencoe traffic signals, so he's vested that way.
Speaking for myself alone, I would look forward in the future to all MDAs, MDA amendments, PUDs, having an expiration date, because as we know, times change and things that can just sort of sit there for 20 years, we may not like when they finally come back to life. So thank you very much, Chief Planner Gove.
Okay.
And now, is there any member of the public who would like to speak?
I think the applicant's here too. I don't know if he wants to speak or if he's willing to wait.
I'm fine with the applicant coming up.
Okay.
Are you the applicant? Thanks.
Good evening, Vice Mayor Martin and members of the commission. My name is Paul Holub. My office is located at 1185 West Granada Boulevard in Ormond Beach. And I've owned this property for about 20 years. Not the typical development that we get engaged with, but this one's been a little more difficult because of the times that followed in 2008, probably up to about 2012. We were fortunate to get Advent Health in 2013. We had a racetrack, convenience gas to go on the property where Advent is now, and had plans, conceptual plans submitted. And of course, the city wasn't overly happy with having a gas station at the gateway to their city, and I understand that. Luckily, we got Advent, and they put up a spectacular building. And this is the last lot we have left. I have a long-term ground lease with the franchisee for this business. It is somewhat of a limited operation. It's coffee, breakfast items. They do serve throughout the day. And it has no indoor seating. It's drive up, and you can also have like DoorDash come and walk up to a window to pick up their orders. The landscaping is significant. If you look, I mean, there's 10 shade trees, all 3.5-inch calipers, 12 understory trees, 3 palms. There's 771 ground cover going in, 437 shrubs. There's 29 hardwoods that are existing that will be preserved. So it is well forested. And I know there was some photos showing some other Elenos coffee locations that look pretty bare, but they don't compare to what's been proposed for this property. I mean, this is significantly landscaped. The traffic is controlled with one ingress, egress point. And I'm available to answer any of your questions you may have. Thank you.
Any members of the commission have any questions? No. Any member of the public wish to speak?
Randy Herman, 108 Esther Street. Just more of a question. In listening to the planning department's review, it sounds like it could not look very coordinated architecturally. I don't know if the developer could comment. It sounds like each building could be quite different and may not present a very attractive combination. Thank you.
Hi, Cindy Sneezak, 5 Trailview Bun. Thank you, Jeff, for your coverage to my memorandum. I'm glad that you have this picture up. This is what I was hoping would come up tonight, and it was, if it was in the packet, it wasn't very readable. The reason I sent you those other Eleanos building pics was because they were so bare. So this is great to see. The trees are already marked on the parcel, and somebody's kind of cut a access path through there. So I don't know what the difference is between trees marked with blue and white and trees marked with pink and white, but that may designate which trees are coming down and which trees are staying. So that kind of would be something to know. There are some pretty interesting looking pines there that would pose some of an existing barrier so that they didn't all have to be clear cut. So I think that's what you were getting at, Mr. Commissioner McGurk. I did speak at zoning, and there was something shown that was gray with red. So I'm glad to see this beautiful, more of a Florida vernacular building. That's great. Still doesn't have a metal roof. Still has his Elianos cranberry, which is a pretty stark red, where it could easily be a blue. They do trim their other box buildings with a blue, so that's all I was trying to get at. But it's really more an education point, and it reminds me of some things that Commissioner Ashley has said publicly before, in that when you write the MDA, you have to anticipate that over a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen years, Deering Park mentioned a 30-year timeline in their first fantasy about an MDA, a lot of things can change. And if you're going to have a long-standing MDA like this one, it's almost 20 years old now, and we're just talking about developing something that's fronting. Tastes change, all those things change. So when people make amendments and they ask you for an amendment on an MDA, you've opened up the whole MDA. So you can ask for what you want. And I don't know if you know that. I don't think I've ever seen you do that. So, and maybe that only applies to Commissioner McGurk, because I don't think the rest of you have been here when an MDA was opened up for reconsideration. So the other thing that kind of puzzles me is I know that FDOT, since I worked for them, has a plan that will take State Road 44 in that area and I believe make it 6 lanes. So when we talk about putting this building closer to the road, I wonder what the impact, if any, of that might be 5 or 10 years down the road. And I didn't hear anything discussed like that at zoning, so I'd appreciate knowing something about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry. Our applicant is back.
Just briefly, we didn't move the building closer to the road. We moved it further back to accommodate the drive-through and the bypass lane. So that was one of the amendments. And the second one was, of course, to make the drive lanes wider so that you could have a bypass lane. And of course, the third is the architecture. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 6224?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
A second.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Preen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 6224 has been adopted. On to ordinances first reading, and the city attorney will read the following ordinance the first time by title only. The second reading and public hearings will be conducted on December 10th, 2024.
Ordinance number 6324, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach annexing 5 plus or minus acres of property located on the west side of Spruce Street between Woodland Avenue and Pioneer Trail, addressed as 158 Spruce Street, providing for redefining boundaries of the city, designating the property within Commission Zone 1, providing for public hearing, providing for required filings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be December 10th, 2024. Ordinance number 6424. An ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the comprehensive plan, changing the future land use designation of .25 plus or minus acres of property located on the west side of Spruce Street between Woodland Avenue and Pioneer Trail, addressed as 158 Spruce Street, from Volusia County urban medium intensity to city medium density residential, providing for amendment of the associated comprehensive plan maps to show the area incorporated into the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be December 10th, 2024. Ordinance number 6524, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning .25 plus or minus acres of property located on the west side of Spruce Street between Woodland Avenue and Pioneer Trail, address as 158 Spruce Street, from Volusia County R4A Urban Single Family Residential Airport Overlay to City R2A Single Family Residential Airport Overlay Zoning District, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be December 10th, 2024. Ordinance number 6624, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach annexing .63 plus or minus acres of property located on the southeast corner of Pioneer Trail and Enterprise Avenue, addressed as 1997 Pioneer Trail, providing for redefining boundaries of the city, designating the property within Commission Zone 1, providing for public hearing, providing for required filings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be December 10th, 2024. Ordinance number 6724, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the comprehensive plan, changing the future land use designation .63 plus or minus acres of property located on the southeast corner of Pioneer Trail and Enterprise Avenue, addressed as 1997 Pioneer Trail, from Volusia County urban medium intensity to city medium density residential, providing for amendment of the associated comprehensive plan maps to show the area incorporated into the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be December 10th, 2024. Ordinance number 6824, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning .63 plus or minus acres of property located on the southeast corner of Pioneer Trail and Enterprise Avenue, addressed as 1997 Pioneer Trail, from Volusia County R4A Urban Single Family Residential Airport Overlay to City R2A Single Family Residential Airport Overlay Zoning District, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be December 10th, 2024.
Are we all set? Thank you. All right. City Clerk.
Yes, good evening. The first item that I have, since we continued the Housing Authority, is for the Planning and Zoning Board. It's up Commission's pleasure how you'd like to conduct that, by either nominations or ballot vote. I do have ballots with me with all 11 applicants to include the 2 up for appointment
I think
consideration.
it might be most efficient if we use ballots with every member putting down, marking 2 names. Is that okay with everyone?
No. I want to consider these separately, and I also would like to open this for discussion.
Sure. All right, before you do the consideration, Jessie Thompson was appointed by the Volusia County School Board, so just letting you know as a courtesy. So she is the ex officio member of this board. I put that on my staff report per state statutes and our ordinances. Go ahead.
She's like a non-voting member. Or is that-
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
You're
So the
welcome.
commission does not need to vote on that?
No.
All
Correct.
clear.
Go ahead.
So the 2 positions that we have for the planning and zoning, I would like those treated totally separate because they're different. And then I also would like to get the feedback from our city manager and city attorney.
Well, I support doing it separately, and what I'd like to do, I mean, I'll make a nomination when it's ready. I'm ready to, or now or then, I'll make a motion to reappoint Wheatcraft, but I do want to take them separate.
Okay. I'll second that motion for Wheatcraft.
All right. You can vote on that first, and that is Commissioner Perine,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. There was a second.
So the second one, we've had some issues with the second reappointment, so I'd just like the feedback from the city manager and the city attorney on.
Wait, I believe the second has not been nominated, so we don't know who, if we're going to do a nomination for a second appointment.
I'll nominate David McKenna then.
Does it mean, are we going down the road, or what are we doing?
Well, no, she's nominated,
Well, usually we make some sort of, each person makes a nomination, or we hand out, but it'll be, if we go through each single nomination, it can be a very long night.
which I think would this be acceptable for you at this time to use a ballot?
So, yes, the only discussion that I was going to mention too is because of David McKenna is currently on our Economic Development Board and also the Police Board. And then he was in the election 2 years ago and had a lot of local votes. So I feel like David McKenna was the reason why I was nominating that in those three reasons. And that's why I want to open this for discussion.
Well, I think my preference is by ballot. I would say that I think there are other people that have more applicable qualifications for this particular position, and I appreciate Mr. McKenna's role in the other entities of our government.
Yes,
Your turn, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up something that I think is very important. I served on the Planning and Zoning Board. I chaired the Planning and Zoning Board. I watched a good person get removed due to simple politics off the Planning and Zoning Board. And I always said to myself, if I ever get elected on a commission, I would never let that happen. And we do have a gentleman up for reappointment tonight. And I will not consider that person for reappointment because my understanding is this person was asked to meet with the city attorney, and this person felt that they did not need to meet with the city attorney.
Excuse me, wouldn't it be appropriate to discuss people whose names are in play rather than people who have not been nominated?
Mayor, I'm discussing a person who is up for reappointment and why that I will not be voting for that person.
But the name hasn't been nominated.
Discussion, too.
So I'm in the middle of a discussion. So, Mayor, I would appreciate you allowing me to continue what I have to say.
Certainly.
Thank you, Mayor. I would only remove someone over something I think would be egregious. And when our city attorney does her job, and when our city attorney requests to speak to one of our board members, and that board member declines, to me, that's a big deal. So that is why tonight I will not be supporting with what I would usually do is support both people who are up for reappointment because they have terms to finish. I will not be, I reappointed one, I will not be supporting the reappointment of another. And with that said, I think that we should make nominations and go to a ballot. That's my opinion.
All right. Commissioner Ashley, would you like to nominate someone for the second position?
I would like to nominate John Causey.
Thank you. Commissioner McGurk.
I would like to nominate Frank Dalton.
I already did mine.
And we have, okay. So shall we do it by ballot?
Did you have a nomination?
I would like to nominate Frank Dalton.
All right. So when I distribute these, you'll be selecting one of three, which were just told to me. That would be John Causey Sr., Francis Dalton, David McKenna. And since there's five, it's a majority vote of three.
Thank you.
Of those nominated.
It's a tie vote, 2 for John Causey Sr., which were nominated by, or checked out by Brian Ashley and Valley Perrine, and 2 for Frank Dalton from Jason McGurk, Lisa Martin. So I have to distribute another ballot. You'll be selecting from those 2. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Francis Dalton received 1 vote from Vice Mayor Martin. John Causey Sr. was selected from Commissioner McGurk, Commissioner Ashley, Commissioner Perrine. So the second appointee is going to be John Causey Sr.
Thank you. And congratulations to Larry Wheatcraft and John Causey. All right, so then we're up to the Youth Council Task Force. City Clerk, do you have a report?
Yes, I do. I've been in contact with Mr. Woodard, who serves as the high school liaison for the AP government and class at New Smyrna Beach High School. There are 5 members from last year who wish to be considered for reappointment. They are Eden Brumow, Peyton Elkine, Kyla Kavanaugh, Piper Lehman, and Abby MacArthur. He has 2 new students that are juniors. The 2 that we had that made up the 7 have graduated and gone off to college. The 2 new ones are Jessica Perkis and Maya Irwin. So this evening, I'm just looking for approval of the appointment request from the high school.
Is there a motion to reappoint Eden Brumal, Peyton Elkind, Kyla Kavanaugh, Piper Lehman, Abby MacArthur, and appoint Jessica Perkis and Maya Irwin to serve as Youth Council Task Force members for the 2024-2025 academic school year?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Thank you.
At this time, commissioners. Commissioner Perrine, do you have a report?
I do not. I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and safe travels.
Thank you. Commissioner Ashley.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Commissioner McGurk.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a few brief statements. During my previous agenda briefing, I did mention to the city manager and city attorney that I would be very supportive and hope that we can create a home buyback program for buyback homes for repetitive floods in a home. I also would like to consider doing something similar to what we did with the Turnbull Land Bond, to where we may have a voter referendum during the midterm elections to create something similar like we did with the Turnbull Bay Bond, to be able to go after large chunks of property that would help long-term for flooding purposes. The reason I say a different one is because the Turnbull Bay land bond that we have now is very, very specific. It has to be in a very small area. There's a number of large pieces of property that still have not been sold and have not been developed. And I would love an opportunity by voter referendum to, if the community agrees, to use that same template to go after some of these bigger properties that are out west a little bit and would help tremendously. And then finally, committee was mentioned. That is something, a committee of citizens. I've spoken to a number of people. a lot of local contractors who have been flooded and have their own thoughts. There's a lot of people who have a lot of understanding about this area, and I'm very supportive of a citizen committee dealing with or observing the what we're doing on the flooding to give some sort of formal input. Thank you, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to all. Anything from our city attorney?
I believe the city clerk was going to discuss a change to our agenda. Kelly, do you want to skip, or you want me to take it?
I thought we took it.
No, I was just going to say, city attorney asked me to include some new verbiage in the script that the mayor usually reads from, as well as on the agenda. So you'll notice a change coming up. The included verbiage is speech is limited to matters pertinent to the city. And if you wanted to elaborate.
Sure. There was city commission meetings have traditionally been held to be a limited public forum. It's a business meeting. You guys have business to conduct. The citizens come and they speak to matters pertinent to the city. There was a case that came out of the Miami area that for a very brief period of time made city commission meetings designated public forums. So the speakers didn't have to limit their remarks to city business. And the details of this particular case led to somebody being trespassed from city commission meeting. It went to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which governs Florida, Georgia, Atlanta, the Southeast states. And they said, no, this is a limited public forum. So just like before. So we had this temporary time period where it was more wide open when it was a designated public forum, but we're back to the way it was. And they said you can make it clear by just stating in, on our agenda where it says by resolution 09 whatever, residents are permitted to speak for 3 minutes, and we'll just insert on matters pertinent to city business. And then when the the mayor calls for public comment, making the same on matters pertinent to city business. So it's really not a significant change, it's a refinement.
We need a motion or anything?
Do we need a motion asking this?
No,
Do we have
no
a
motion.
consensus from the committee that the commission that this is acceptable language to be added to our script?
Yes.
We have a consensus. Thank you. Anything else?
Just wanted to publicly announce the UC is considering whether or not to continue fluoride treatment in its water. So that's on the horizon.
My understanding is they'll make the decision in January.
So.
Yeah. There being no further business to discuss, the regular meeting is adjourned at 8:27 p.m.